Hello everybody, it is me, Link14, and today we're doing a new type of video that I've never really done before. I'm curious how well it's going to do. I was just curious about this type of topic, and these two characters are two of my favorite characters, two of my favorite characters in the franchise, which is Pokemon. And I was just curious about this topic, and I wanted to do some research on it. Something I was curious about for a while, and I just want to see how you guys would think about this. I've never done these types of videos before, so I may be rusty. Not sure how the videos are even going to turn out right now. This is just me going off of stuff. I haven't really wrote a proper script for it because, well, I don't even know where to start. So we're gonna see how it goes. For this video, I will go over the main factors between each of them to see who would known as the strongest Pokemon trainer between these two. There are plenty of other Pokemon trainers, I do know that. Like, there's ones from different games, like Brandon, Gold. Those are just ones for starters. New ones from Sword and Shield, I don't know who their names are, but I know they exist. There's Sun, Moon, and what's the name of it? Kalman? Kalman? I don't know, from X and Y. So there's a lot to go into, but I'm just going focusing on these two because these two are usually known to compare to each other, you know, for obvious reasons. But we're going to see how it goes. I don't know how this is going to go. If you guys do enjoy this video, I will make a part 2 comparing whoever is known as the strongest trainer in this video to put against the other ones to see who would definitely take the crown as the strongest Pokemon trainer in Pokemon history, at least as currently. For this one, I will be focusing mostly on the anime and games. Games for Red, anime for Ash. I will dive into a bit of the manga at times for supporting evidence for their feats and stuff like that. I do know both Ash and Red are known, or Red mostly known for his manga appearances, but that is an entirely different character from the ones we know from the games. I can tell there's a huge difference between them just by their strongest Pokemon in general. Red chooses a Bulbasaur, Revenge transforms into a Venusaur, while the game ones we know he chooses a Charizard, and then it comes with these, Pokemon Origin special thingies, which I'll also go to because that is canon for his character. So I will go into some of the manga stuff a little bit for supporting events, but otherwise the main priority is the games and anime. Okay? To determine each of the strongest trainers, I will be focusing on different sections. So this video might be turned into different sections. We'll start with, first off, the backgrounds between each of them. Then we'll start with their strengths. Or no, sorry, their Pokemon. It's more important. Then we'll start with their experiences as a trainer. Then we'll go into their accomplishments as a trainer, and then we'll go into their actual feats. And then we'll see what else that can go to. I know each of them have two different things you can look at to determine which one's truly the definite stronger trainer between them. And I'll also look into skill. I should have put that with experience and skill, kind of they go together in a way. So I'm a little out of breath right now. I'm really tired right now, and I'm saying this all in one take, so we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing. So, let's see how this goes. I have no idea what to call this series, because I'm not making this a series. Or at least, I'm not sure. We're just going to see how this goes. I'm not known to be a math guy, or calculation stuff, like stuff we see in death battles and like that. So I'm just going based on, literally forums and other weird stuff I find throughout the internet to see exactly where we should put these two at in terms of power, speed, durability, other factors, as well as I read different things from different sections between both of them, their characters and stuff such as the battle with Red and Gold. Be surprised when I tell you about it, as well as other things that you may not know. And this is also based on my opinion. I could be entirely wrong. There could be new material for Ash or Red in the future. Also, I won't be including the mobile game. I forgot what it was called. It was like like Masters EX or something like that, I will not be including that because, from what I can tell, it doesn't seem like it's canon in the Pokemon universe. Now that we have Ash in the actual game, it just isn't canon. It just can't be canon with him in this inclusion. It seems like it's Jeffy, like a sort of like theory. After all, there's a lot of trainers in there that aren't even champion level yet. Like Brandon, beginning. I'm not sure if he's changes since then. I haven't actually played the game yet, but from what I can tell, it seems like both of them are two different things. So I won't be including that either. So just to let you know. But if you guys are interested in that, maybe I'll dive into it in the future. But for now, that's something I'm not going to go into. Okay, so I think it's pretty much the rules I want to set out. Sorry for this long section of the video. Try to keep everything else brief as possible. Try to go into everything as thoroughly as possible. So hope you guys enjoy this video. Thank you very much. Okay, Red was a young man who was very interested in Pokemon at a very early age. He was always excited about the thought of Pokemon, just how they worked, everything. And he also had a rival who was also known as his best friend and his complete opposite towards him. He always liked the thrill of Pokemon battles more than actually Pokemon itself. So he got really excited when he finally turned 10 years old and had the permission to become a Pokemon trainer. Since every 10-year-old in the Pokemon universe can just go out in the real world and with no parents, because that's just how Pokemon works, guys. Do not question me. I'm not the one who write this stuff. Child abandonment aside, he was more interested in actually catching Pokemon than Gary was, who was more interested in Pokemon battle. So they had two different goals. Red decided to have his goal to be catch every single Pokemon in the Kanto region, while Gary's goal was to become the strongest Pokemon trainer. So they all both set out to do their own goals, each of them facing different obstacles, but focusing on Red's story. Red had to go through a bunch of difficult challenges. He couldn't just capture all Pokemon because he realized early on, after battling against Brock, the gym leader, he needs to become a really strong Pokemon trainer in order to achieve his goal of catching every single Pokemon. Considering most Pokemon are just freaking ridiculously overpowered and you can't just beat them with strategy, you need strength too. So he set up as a side goal to get every single gym leader and, see where that goes, really. So he went through every single gym, defeating every single gym leader alongside doing different things such as visiting Lavender Town and fixing up the situation, which would have stuttering, which would have resulted in, or actually it was before that, Team Rocket. Team Rocket was a criminal organization that Red had to deal with time and time again. I mean, time and time again, until he eventually got enough of that shit and decided to take them down himself. And that's where he met the leader, Giovanni, who was just freaking ridiculous. Was too strong for him to handle at that time. With Red finally able to get a strong team and evolve his starter, which was a Charmander, into a full blend Charizard. Oh, that's fucking awesome. Though in the end, he did finally take down Giovanni as the last and final gym leader, with him officially taking down the entire organization of Team Rocket, stopping them for good. Then he set out to become the Pokemon champion after he realized he still needed to be even stronger. So he went into the Elite Four and challenged every single one of them to earn the right of champion level. He finally defeated Lance, the final leader of the Elite Four. However, he was told that he still needed to defeat one more challenger to become the official champion, and that was his rival, Blue. Did I say Gary before? I hope I didn't say Gary before. His name is Blue. Anyways, they had one final battle between Red and Blue. It was shown that in the end, Red's own training of kindness and compassion instead of Blue's hardcore training was able to prevail in the end, with the final battle between Charizard and Blastoise, two of their strongest Pokemon. With Red emerging victorious, he took the title of champion. And after that, he went on to go to a cave, fight the most powerful psychic Pokemon of all time, Mewtwo, and had gained the ability to Mega Evolve. Charizard into Mega Charizard X. With it, he's able to defeat Mewtwo, catch him, and officially achieve his goal of catching every single Pokemon in Kanto. Alongside Mew, but, we won't get into that. Since then, he just disappeared. Nobody knows his current appearance he just left for some reason to Mount Silver to do, I guess, more training, because, once you catch every Pokemon, what do you do next, right? He just went out there, did his own thing until he was challenged by a new trainer, a new champion, Gold. And they had one battle. As from what we know, we still don't know what the conclusion is. But they had one battle, which inspired Red to go back to the world to challenge even more Pokemon trainers, because he figured that there are a lot more powerful trainers, or at least there's a lot more strong trainers just like him, and he wants to test out his skills against them too. Last lone appearance that we can remember is when he showed up in Sun and Moon, took a visit into Alola with Blue to fight the current Alola champion in that region. And that's pretty much Red Story leads off right now. Let's see how Ash feels. The young, energetic Ash had started off his life loving Pokemon as early as when he was just a small little child, even smaller than he is right now. He went to different Pokemon schools / camps / learning. Went one to Kalos, where he met a young Serena, which we'll get into a little later. His story is fucking huge. I'm gonna try to go into the smallest parts as possible. He also went to another one where he had even more Pokemon, but he always has a lack of just sleeping in most of the time. Either way, eventually he grew up to be about 10 years old. We finally got the opportunity to catch and train Pokemon and travel across the world. Because like I said before, in this universe, parents are just okay leaving their kids out in the open where they can get shot, murdered, or other weird shit while carrying powerful beasts in little balls. Yep, this is Pokemon, people. So he needed to choose a partner, and he chose a partner that most people would assume would be a somewhat poor choice, but in the end, it's shown that he made the best choice he could possibly did. He decided to choose his partner, Pikachu. Pikachu started off hating him for a lot of reasons. He was just a small Pikachu, but he lost his family, and when he evolved, he was captured by Professor Oak. He never really had a liking to humans specifically, and he always thought Ash was just a pathetic trainer, especially at the beginning. Never listened to him, no matter what it was, until finally Ash defended him against a swarm of Spearows, and then they both saw Ho-Ho together, which inspired both of them to get even stronger and stronger. Since then, Ash has traveled throughout many different regions, defeating a lot of trainers and a lot of gym leaders, and participating in every single conference for the Pokemon League. He started off with the obvious one, Kanto, defeated every gym leader, quote unquote, and he gained the opportunity to fight in the Indigo Plateau, which he lost in the top 16 against Richie when Charizard refused to fight for him because, let's just face it, he was not a great trainer at that time. So he decided to earn his respect back in the Orange Islands. He participated in more gym leaders, which he won fair and square in weird ways. And he gained the opportunity to fight into the Orange League against the champion Drake, which he did end up winning. Also winning Charizard's respect at the same time. So that's pretty cool. His Pokemon became even stronger than that before. After that, though, they wanted to challenge even more trainers, so they went into Johto, did the same exact thing, defeated every single gym leader, get an opportunity to go into the conference, Johto League. He did win top 8, which is still impressive, but he still lost fair and square against, I think it was, his name was Harrison? I swear I think I'm getting it wrong, but Harrison and his Pokemon team from Hoenn, which inspired Ash to go into Hoenn. Did the exact same thing. I'm pretty sure you see the pattern of where I'm going with this. Either way, he went through every single region we've known of, which would be Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova. He went to Kalos, where he met against Serena once again, doing a sort of romantic, interesting going on between both of them. Then he went into Alola, which was a lot different though, because this time, instead of participating against gym leaders, he participated against trials against the island Kahulans and gained Z crystals. He also gained an opportunity to battle in the Pokemon League, which for once, after so long, he finally won and became the official first ever Pokemon Alola champion, making him the strongest Pokemon trainer in Alola, fair and square. He also gained even more awesome abilities throughout most of the region travels. He gained the ability to Mega Evolve in Journeys. He gained the ability to Z-Ring in Sun and Moon. I'm stuttering so much. And he also gained the ability to Dynamax with, again, Journeys slash, what region are we on? I keep forgetting what the region was called, but Sword and Shield, basically. Cannot believe I can't remember what it was called, but I think I got pretty much all the regions. I feel like I did, though. Yeah. Either way, throughout all of his travels, he did meet up with his companions, new companions, then or now. Obviously, Brock and Misty are two of his common ones. He also had Max and May, which he met in Hoenn. He also had, I'm trying my best, Dawn from Sinnoh. Univev was both Iris and, oh fuck, I keep pronouncing it wrong. Him. And then Lola, he had so many ones. I'm just gonna put it on screen, man, because I'm not seeing every single one of them. But some of the well-known ones are probably Gladion and Lily and Kiawe. Yeah, Kiawe. Obviously, the other ones are important too. I just can't remember their names or can't pronounce them, and I don't want to spend too much time with Lola alone. And then finally, in Journeys, he met with Go, where in this series, after finally achieving the rank of champion level, he wanted to still defeat more powerful trainers, including the most powerful trainers in the entire world, the Masters 8. So he participated in the World Coronation Series. We get to defeat a lot of powerful trainers, ranking up every single rank, starting with the normal class to the great class to the ultra class to finally the Masters class, where he currently is fighting against the Master 8 in the Master 8 tournament to determine who will be the strongest trainer in the entire world, including top tier champion trainers like Steven, which he has officially won, moving him into the semifinals against Cynthia, which despite having a very hard, tough battle, Ash was able to pull off the win against the second strongest champion in the entire world, moving into the final rounds against Leon, the strongest champion in the entire world. Against all odds, Ash, with the help and support of his companions and Pokemon, him and Pikachu were able to push through their own limits to defeat Leon's overbroken Charizard, becoming the official new world champions. From what you can tell, both Red and Ash do have a lot of similarities to each other from hearing their backstories. That definitely are two powerful trainers who constantly seek even more challenges, despite them already achieving godhood basically in their own ways at such an early age too. And we could tell the differences between them too. They're not just similarities, there's also big differences. For one thing, Red is a lot more older than Ash, which means he's a lot more mature and has a lot more experience. From what we can tell, he could probably be about a couple years older. I'm not exactly sure how many because I can't remember, but he is a couple years older than Ash because Ash will be 10 years old. Despite him doing all of this, and not even a single year has passed, which is just horseshit. I think he's probably 11 by now, but whatever, Pokemon. So yeah, they're pretty big difference between them, and definitely the Pokemon they have, and I want to get into that. While Red has an assortment amount of really powerful Pokemon, really only one really stands out above all of them. From what I can tell, I'm not entirely sure if his regular team exactly reaches Charizard's level in terms of power. From what I can tell and remember in the Origin series, that doesn't seem like it would be the case. At least definitely not in the Mega Evolved form, and definitely not even sure about his regular form. Charizard has shown to be far stronger than the average Charizard or average Pokemon. This dude can take down legendaries without the need of a Mega Evolve, and needed the Mega Evolution to fight against Mewtwo, the strongest psychic Pokemon known to man. And Mewtwo is a whole different story that I want to get into later. But keep in mind that when he had to fight against Mewtwo, he needed his Mega Evolution form, not just in his regular form. His regular form, he was shown that he's getting his ass kicked really badly. And it was shown that most likely between after Red became champion to when he started capturing legendary Pokemon, he most likely got even more powerful, but that's just me assuming things. And then for Ash obviously does have Pikachu, which he has had for such a long time, and would still always be his strongest starter. I don't care what you guys say or what other people say, he would be the strongest Pokemon Ash would achieve. I'm assuming most people would agree with that, but I know there's some people who think he doesn't deserve that title, which, I mean, if you just see how many feats he's done so far, you would notice that he definitely deserves that title. And just like Red's Charizard, he did in fact defeat a lot of legendaries too. And not just his Pokemon, not just Pikachu, but also his other Pokemon, such as Charizard, who defeated Articuno, the exact same feat that Red's Charizard did. Obviously, you can tell the difference between both of the wins pretty easily, but that's something I want to point out right now, because we're going to get so into the differences in power between these two. I just want to get this stuff right off the bat. From what we can tell, Red's team is, well, I'm going to show on the screen right now. Commonly, he has changed Pokemon time to time. I mean, literally time to time. It's never really consistent of what his main Pokemon really are, but from what we can tell, that's similarly what we can see what we can do. For Ash's Pokemon, he has a lot of Pokemon, but I'm only going to get into his strongest ones for his team. First off, Pikachu is obviously number 1. Number 2, we have to put Charizard in his team, because that dude defeated a legendary, and that proves right off the bat he deserves the spotlight. Greninja is also obviously number 3, or sorry, not in the order, I'm just saying Pokemon. Greninja, because he has the power to Bomb Phenomenon, which is basically like a Mega Evolution, and that just earns him the spot immediately. Number 1 that most people won't probably expect is Sceptile. He is defeating a Darkrai and has shown that in the home region and against the Battle Frontier, he's pretty strong. He definitely deserves that title, being in his ultimate team. Number 5, I think this is where it's going to be interesting, because I know most people want to probably put one of Ash's Alola Pokemon, one of Ash's Sinnoh Pokemon, one of Ash's Drain's Pokemon. But as you can tell, we're running out of slots already, and we haven't even touched the rest of the Pokemon yet. So for this team, I'm not going to include any of the Alola Pokemon just because they haven't shown their capabilities of matching what I'm going to discuss next. I'm not saying they're weak. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying they haven't shown the capabilities of what we've seen in this elite Pokemon team I'm creating right now. So with that in mind, we will be including Infernape, even though it is technically another fire Pokemon, and I don't like it being unbalanced, but it is Ash, so of course he would do that. And again, we're talking about the most powerful Pokemon. If you wanted to substitute Infernape for somebody else, I would probably say his Lycanroc, because unlike his other Pokemon, that Pokemon did earn him the title of champion. So that's something you gotta give this beast credit, okay? But for this team, I'm still choosing Infernape for his 5th spot. And his final spot would be one of his Drain's Pokemon team. And for this one, I would think I would choose Lucario. Even though Dragonite is pretty strong from what we can tell, I think Dragonite would probably make Lucario his strongest Pokemon and his next ace Pokemon. Despite Dragonite being clearly freaking strong, I still think Lucario will probably take it, especially now that he's getting access to the Bomb Phenomenon just like Greninja would, and also Mega Evolution, which make him even stronger than he is right now. So that's why I'm putting him in the 6th spot. And that's currently the teams between both of them. So we're going to see what happens when we compare them to each other. Also, no legendaries for either of them. I know both of them have caught legendary Pokemon before, but for this type of battle, I'm not going to include them, and you're going to see why in a little bit, and why I'm not going to compare it to. First of all, they both defeated their legendary Pokemon, so I don't think it would be really make much sense to put them in their teams. Technically, they do have them, and both Red and Ash have used them in a battle, but I want to make it specifically just their main Pokemon, and I hope you guys are fine with that. You'll see why in a minute, okay? So yeah, it's basically their teams. Right. Right. For actual numbers and feats and stuff, for Red's Pokemon, or I want to focus on Charizard for a bit. For Red's Charizard, we know that he's able to at least keep a fight against Moltres, from what we can see in the origin short. And Moltres' power is pretty debatable if you would look at it. From what we can tell, it does seem like he's able to keep it based with Lugia. My bad. Talk about Lugia. Yeah, so they're able to. The Combined Battle was able to defeat Lugia. So I know that may be weird to think about, and maybe most people probably don't know this, but in the games we know that both all three legendary birds are actually students to Lugia, which just sounds weird to think about, really, but that's basically what the official Bulbapedia told me, and that's pretty crazy if you really think about it. So it doesn't seem that far-fetched that we can compare them to each other's in powers. And from what we can tell, Lugia's main best feat, what we can actually measure, is when it caused a 40-day storm by just flapping its wings. That is ridiculous, because that would really require about 11.46 teratons of TNT. That's about country level. It's like destroying the United States. Or probably smaller than the United States, but you get what I'm saying. And from what we could tell, we could probably put the legendary birds about 3-ish tons of TNT. I'm not sure. I think 3-ish teratons to 11 teratons is where we can put them for both minimum and maximum. And that would put Red's Charizard around that in terms of power. For speed, we know that most Pokemon are usually based FTL due to the fact that we all dodge light-based attacks. They haven't really shown any capabilities of going faster than that, at least not these legendary Pokemon. There are legendary Pokemon who have done far faster feats, but we will get into those a little bit later. But for now, that's where we can probably put them in terms of speed. For Red's other Pokemon, they're a little bit more debatable where you want to put it, especially since the Origins special didn't really give us any evidence to say if they're strong as Charizard is. But from what we can tell, I think putting them about Gigaton range, since they're able to defeat Pokemon who can throw literally other Pokemon into orbit, push mountains, basically took out with champs, and other Pokemon who have destroyed mountains before. I think putting them about Gigaton range is not as bad as you might seem, especially since they were able to defeat Champion to Elite for Pokemon. So I think putting them on that range is pretty good. Mewtwo is a different story. Mewtwo can be scaled to Red's Mega Charizard X, which means we will not be including his Mega Mewtwo Y and Mega Mewtwo X, or his Dark one, which are showing more impressive feats. We're going to ignore those, and we'll be sticking strictly to Mewtwo, who was as strong as Deoxys was. Deoxys was about plant level, if you want to look at the plant delta feat as plant level, which I would, and it's about a couple zetatons of TNT, which is pretty impressive. And is able to fly from the end of the Milky Way to Earth in about 10 days, which is massively faster than the speed of light. You're probably wondering why we were scaling Mewtwo to Deoxys. It was because in the manga they did actually had a fight against each other, and Mewtwo was able to win despite going through a lot of pain during the fight, literally being impaled by him. And even though that in the manga there's some evidence that Mewtwo may be stronger than plant level, keep in mind that when he fought against Zygarde, he was only at 50% of power for Zygarde, and it was shown that Mewtwo needed his Mega Evolved forms to keep up a pretty long fight. So in total, we can probably see Red's ace Pokemon being about planet level in its Mega form to massively faster than light speeds, and then about country level in its base form and faster light speeds in its basic form. For his other Pokemon, be either way to island level to maybe country level, if you want to look at it that way, and then they're also just base FTL. So that's pretty much where we're going to put Red's Pokemon in terms of power. Now we're going to see where we're going to put Ash's Pokemon. Alright, for Ash, there's a lot of different Pokemon that have shown incredible uses of power. I'm going to go briefly into them because of time constraints, so just bear with me. We can start off with the first we know for one of the Pokemon, Charizard. We know that he has defeated an Articuno before, which we went over before, as shown here. But more consistently, I want to show a different type of feat that we can probably scale most of Ash's elite Pokemon to this one feat, considering that they're all comparable to this one Pokemon. And I'm of course talking about Pikachu's famous Thunder feat in the Pokemon I Choose You movie. While it's not considered canon in the main Pokemon universe, certain events in the Pokemon movie that it could go with the actual canon anime, especially since regular Pikachu has done probably even more impressive feats than that. We can at least somewhat compare this to what we see in the anime. And for that, well, we know based on its how much electricity it produced to clear all the clouds, it would probably have to consist about 125 teratons of TNT. I didn't do the math, by the way, so there's this man right here. I'm gonna leave in the screenshot. And because of that, most of Ash's Pokemon can be based like that, and considering the fact that Charizard was able to defeat Articuno, who he defeated before he actually finished his training in the Tri-Sacred Valley, I think it's comparable enough we can compare him to Pikachu's 125 teratons of TNT, considering it's a lot stronger than it was now. The same thing applies to other Pokemon such as Sceptile and Infernape, despite the fact that they could be stronger than that, considering that Sceptile was able to defeat the Darkrai, but we can't immediately confirm it to be universal level. Because Darkrai at its best could be compared to universal level, given the different canon typical Pokemon entries we can go look at. But I'm not going to do that, because it seems a bit too much of an outlier to do that. So I'm not going to do that, but that still shows that Sceptile can definitely be comparable to 125 teratons of TNT. So think with Infernape, he was able to basically tie with Charizard before, and he was able to fight along with Moltres. Even though it did lost, keep in mind it didn't use its Blaze ability. So it could have been a lot stronger than what we've seen there. So that's basically where we put those types of common feats in. Now, I want to talk about two other Pokemon that make this even more interesting. We'll go back to Pikachu in a little bit. I want to talk about Greninja. Greninja, at its best, can be comparable to Alon's Mega Charizard X. Alon's Mega Charizard X was able to do some sneaking damage to Primal Groudon, and was able to do a good old Falcon Punch against Zygarde. Shit, I can't say his name right. I'm gonna say Squishy with X and Y material. Okay, go back to you guys. But yeah, so he's basically comparable to Alon's Mega Charizard X, which at its peak could be at least half Planet Buster, which we would calculate with Red before. I know it may be seeming weird to scale that Charizard to be that strong, considering the fact it did get his ass kicked when it was fighting against Primal Groudon. But keep in mind that during that time, Alon just started doing his Pokemon journey, or kind of, and he had just started training with Charizard. He had not even been able to defeat Elite Four member person by that time. So he definitely was a lot weaker than that. Before he even fought Ash, who just started his journey, and yet was still able to do significant damage to Mega Charizard X. And Greninja has definitely gotten a lot stronger since then, as we've seen in Journeys. They take down those giant roots that caused him so much trouble in X and Y. So we can at least give Greninja these types of feats, which we already calculated before with Deoxys. At least half of that, considering that both Groudon and Kyogre's combined power can probably match a Rayquaza, which we went over before. Considering the fact that Rayquaza has shown to defeat both of them at the same time, and in the manga, both Groudon and Kyogre in the primal forms were able to have those abilities to stop the Planet Delta Thief if they wanted to. So that's why we can get the planets and faster light speeds to them. That's how we can do that. Now, Lucario is a bit different. I don't know whether or not we can skim the Greninja up to this point for Journeys. It could be possible by the end of Journeys that he could be a lot stronger. There's some theories and other shit that we can look at that could give us a possibility of whether or not he would be as strong as Greninja is. Especially since the Pokemon Journeys anime is trying to apply that, but it's not outright saying it. So it's hard to remember that we can scale Lucario to Greninja in its Mega form. So for now, we're going to keep our 125 teratons and highball it to Greninja's level. And then for Pikachu, Pikachu's 10 million Thunderbolt Z move is incredibly powerful. It's hard to whether or not we can scale it to universal level against it. You know what the hell this thing is. So I don't know whether or not we can scale it to that types of feats, considering the fact that all it really did was defeat beings that could, first off, neglect all electricity, Tapu Koko, and that's Jellyfish Legendary. I'm sorry, I can't not pronounce that name right now. But even if it did that, I don't know if we can really compare it to full-on universal level. But keep in mind that it is an attack that's so strong, it's able to defeat Steven's Mega Gross, who has the ability to literally dodge all attacks. It's literally programmed into it. So no matter what you do, you cannot avoid it. So it's on the unknown questionability. But I do think it is stronger than Planet Buster. I do think that is the case. So that is basically what we're doing for Ash's Pokemon. I'm gonna put them in little stat sheets of where I put each single one of them. I didn't go over speed, but I think it's pretty obvious where we can put each of them at. So yeah, and then for Ash's other Pokemon, they haven't shown the capability to match Elite Ash's Pokemon, so I don't really want to mention them, but they are still pretty strong. I do think they're probably around Gigaton range, as before we did with Red's other Pokemon. So I think that's what we can probably put them at. So that pretty much wraps up Ash's Pokemon. Now I want to go over the main question at hand right now. Okay, so who really wins between these characters? Who would win, Red or Ash? Who is the true Pokemon Master? Well, based on the stats, I think it's shown that it's pretty obvious that Ash would take this more times than not. Sure, Red is a really skilled trainer and has the better experience compared to Ash. However, experience and skills aren't always a way to win a battle. Based off of what we can tell, both of their most strongest Pokemon, Pikachu and Charizard, it would show that more times than not Pikachu would be able to take the win. At their base forms, I think it's shown that 125 Terratons is a lot stronger than just 3 Terratons of TNT. But what about in their strongest forms? In the Red's Mega form for Charizard, it's shown that it's being able to defeat Mewtwo, which is a Planet Buster. And that's impressive enough, but Pikachu's Z move is a lot stronger. I've shown multiple times in explaining the Z move before that it's shown that it's a lot stronger than just planet busting power. Well, it is still unknown for its better power. I think it's shown its more capabilities of being able to destroy planets a lot more effectively than Red's Charizard more easily. So yeah, and that's just with one attack. Once that move is gone, Ash's Pikachu is still ready to keep on fighting against Red's other Pokemon. What about Red's other Pokemon then? Yeah, they're fucked. So, I've shown before that at their best, even if you give them the benefit of the doubt, they still won't be able to touch any of Ash's other Pokemon. That includes Greninja, who's at least half Planet Buster. That is freaking ridiculous. That is so much more stronger than anything Red's Pokemon have been able to done. It's just not even close. What about speed? Well, keep in mind that Ash's Z move with Pikachu is able to defeat Pokemon who are meant to dodge all attacks. It doesn't matter how fast you are, that thing would hit you. And it will annihilate you. So Red's Charizard can't dodge it, and Red's other Pokemon can't even keep up against Ash's other Pokemon. We already know that at least 3 of his Pokemon are way faster than the speed of light, and his other Pokemon are likely even faster than that. So, yeah, Ash's Pokemon can just win in a battle like this. Oh, okay, you guys probably wondering what about other stuff besides just their strengths and speeds. What about skills and experience? Well, Red is a lot older than Ash, but Ash has done far more than Red. Red has defeated a champion and has fought multiple champions. Ash has fought against many champions and has defeated those said champions. Red has collected a lot of gym badges. Ash has collected thousands of them. Okay, well, not thousands, but you know what I'm saying, just making it sound cooler than it actually is. Red may have caught a lot more Pokemon, and that's something that Ash hasn't, but he has a lot more knowledge of Pokemon compared to Red, who, despite traveling through multiple regions throughout the Pokemon Generation series, he has never really gone through all the regions like Ash did, so Ash will still have the advantage in that field. It's just shown that Ash has done far more than Red has in his Pokemon journey. After all, Red's Pokemon journey has done decades of constantly just being alone, really. He hasn't even gone out the world that much, compared to Ash, who is always ready to go out, find more stronger Pokemon, and keep on growing. Ash has just shown that he's able to grow a lot faster than what Red was. And he's still 10 years old. Well, Red is just 30 by now. Man's pretty old. And while Red is really skilled and experienced, Ash has defeated those said skilled and experienced trainers multiple times. That includes champions like Steven and Cynthia. Thanks to one of his biggest advantages in this fight, his unpredictability and creativity. Ash has always been known to be the type of person who comes up with new strategies right off the bat that would make no sense at all, but that's what makes him Ash. Ash has come up with strategies such as burning a battlefield down, coming up with thunder armor, or creating a good-fashioned reverse electricity attack with Pikachu, something he learned back in Diamond and Pearl Saga. Red has never shown to do those types of strategies before. He's defeated Elite Four members and champions before, or at least champion. But that doesn't necessarily mean he can come up with those same strategies that Ash has. There just haven't been any much evidence to confirm that or not. So if anything, Ash would be able to catch Red off guard more than the other way around. And when you look at the differences between the anime and the games, you can tell that Red's story has already ended. His journeys between the Kanto region and all the way to Johto to now is just exploring around. His journey has already ended. His story is done. His book is finished. Ash's, however, it's still growing. It's still being written to this day. It just won't stop growing. And that's the difference between them. Ash will forever keep growing while Red has basically reached his limit by now. He can't get any stronger. He's just where he is now. While Ash knows he can and always will try to get stronger, no matter what the case would be. So, overall, while Red does have the skills and experience to keep up a pretty intense fight against Ash, however, Ash's Pokemon have just shown to be far more stronger and faster than Red's Pokemon. And Ash's creativity and unpredictability will catch Red more off guard than the way around. So in the end, Ash is the winner in this fight. So what do you guys think? Do you think Red should have won, or do you actually agree with me? Let me know your opinions in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video because this took a lot of work and effort into it, and this definitely was not done by myself. I've looked at other people's research, their calculations. I want to leave all that stuff in the description below if you guys want to check it out yourself. I'm not the guy who did all this research. I just found stuff. So I guess maybe I did a bit of doing research, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not taking credit for their stuff. That's what I'm trying to basically say. And just thank you for Pokemon, really. I've been a fan of Pokemon for a long time, and the anime is just one of my favorites. I absolutely love Pokemon Blue and Pokemon Gold, all those good Pokemon games. I just absolutely like them. So I want to show my respect to Pokemon by making this video and by correcting some errors on some I made before in the past. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more of this kind of stuff, just let me know and I'll see what I can do about it. If you guys want to see anything else Pokemon related, also let me know. I just want to see how this video does, because yeah, this took a lot of work. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Goodbye.